Hi, I'm Eric Summerer, and here's what's coming from the Dice Tower this week.
Hey folks, welcome to the news for April 15th, 2013 from the Dice Tower Network. There is not a whole lot of board gaming news right now because companies are gearing up. They're going to be announcing new games. A few of them they'll be announcing at Origins. They'll be announcing a ton of them at Gen Con. So lots of things coming up. As always, of course, I must tell you, we are up to 470 right now for the Dice Tower Convention. So if you are still planning to come to that, there is only 130 spots left. So do not delay. Sign up now. Let's get to the board game news. Like I said, there isn't a lot, so I only really have two things to talk about here. A couple games have just shown up on Kickstarter that you might find interesting. One of them is from Ted Bezier, or Ted Alspach from Bezier Games. Ultimate Mafia. Let's say you don't want to play with the werewolf theme, but you want to play that same game. Well, werewolf has its roots in the game Mafia. Well, I'm not sure which one came first, but I know a lot of people play Mafia. Well, now he's making his version of Mafia, Ultimate Mafia, on Kickstarter now. Another game on Kickstarter, Twin Tin Bots. I did a preview of this last week, so you might want to check that out. But this game intrigues me, for one thing, because it's by Felipe Chiartes, who did Small World and Ito and Vinci. He did some great game designs. So, and also, I played the game, and it's pretty fun, so check that out. For News of the Week, kind of running low this week, so the News of the Week this time is from Stronghold Games. They have announced a new game coming out called Space Sheep. I think we will give this one credit for probably the most cheesy, horrific tagline of all time, use the Force. Not much else we can say about that tagline, but the game itself is supposed to be a real-time, customizable, cooperative game with a possibility of a traitor. You are a galaxy of sheep, finding out that there's a new alien race called the Wolf coming at you. Well, we'll find out more as time goes by. The artwork looks great. The designer has put out some really good games previously, so this is one to keep an eye on. As for games that we'll review this week, I'll be taking a look at the new version of Pandemic from Z-Man, Al Rashad. The solitaire game, AD30, don't play many of those, but the theme interested me. Room 25, Fantasy Business, and this is an older game, but I'd like to take a look at those occasionally. Kanakalan and Galapago, Jumba. This is one of the ones people asked me to review, so we'll be taking a look at Democker. The new-ish game, Las Vegas. Very new, Crossmaster Arena. Star Wars, the card game. Hoplomachus. I Am Vlad, and Space Dice. Two of these games are absolutely horrifyingly bad. One is exceptionally good. Several others are good, and one I think you'll be very surprised at my opinion on. But we'll get to those this week. In the Dice Tower Network, we have a lot of podcasts, but not as many episodes were released this week. Maybe give you a time to catch up on the backlogs of some of them. Plaid Hat number 87 was released, where they talked all about game expansions. So find out more about that. Flip the Table number 26, where they reviewed WWF Wrestling Superstars. This is before it was WWE, WWF Wrestling in the 80s against monsters. I mean, come on, that's pure greatness. Geek All-Stars number 49. They interview Matt Riddle, designer of Fleets, and Ben. Dice Tower number 302 is coming out soon, where we will talk about our top 10 political games. Now, don't worry, we're not delving into politics itself, just talking about politics as found in board games. And we also answer a pile of questions, review Legends of Andor and Wiz War. Lots to see, that's coming up. If you are watching these videos and you've never listened to our show or the other shows in the Dice Tower Network, we encourage you to try that out. You can find all of them at dicetowernetwork.com. For my musings on this week, I wanted to talk about my board game collection. Now, my board game collection is bigger than, I would say, most people's games collections. However, my collection itself isn't as big as it could be because I've gotten thousands of games. And I don't keep all the games that I get. In fact, nowadays when I keep a game, I have to decide which game it's going to replace. Unless it's a card game, I might be able to jam some of those on the shelves there. But for the most part, if, for example, I get another one of these square box games, I have to say, is there another one of these square box games? Like, for example, well, I just added Yido to my collection there, and I had to see if there was a game that I could get rid of that I could put in its place. And so there's all sorts of games. And the fact is, just because I don't keep a game doesn't mean that it's not quite good. There are games I think are quite good, but I don't think I'll play them as often as I should be able to. Or there might be a game that's very similar that I like better. And I'm always afraid to tell people the games that I'm getting rid of because, well, they'll read too much into it. And in fact is, I only have so much space. In fact, here in my bedroom, I have piles of games that I have that many of them I actually like, but just several of them just not able to keep, and I'll be getting rid of them at the Dice Tower convention. With all the games that are on, coming to be reviewed, and more games that I'll be taking a look at, that pile is only going to get bigger. Now, do not email me and say, I'll take those off your hand for $5 or $10, I'll even pay shipping, etc. And I appreciate that, but it is a ton of work to package a game up and to ship it through the mail, and we would end up doing that full time if we got rid of them that way. And also it gives us something cool to do at the Dice Tower convention. So what I'm saying is this: I love games, and I wish, no, you know what, I was just about to say I wish I could keep them all. But the simple fact is, I don't wish that I could keep them all, because I only want to keep games I'm going to play all the time. And just because I'm not going to keep a game and play it all the time doesn't mean that it's still not a very good game. There is about 1,000 games that come out every year, ones that are worth talking about. I would say more than half of those are good games because they have to go through a process to even get published anyway. So if more than half of those games are good games, let's say even only 1/3 of them were good, where we would say they were good games. 300 games a year, after 10 years, it would be 3,000 games. It would be really too ridiculous to maintain a collection that size. I keep my collection just shy of 400 games, and I would love to have 365 games so that I could say, possibly, that I would have one game to play every time a year. Even some of these games now, I don't get to play as much as I would like to, and so maybe I shouldn't keep them. Some folks are game collectors. I'm not. I have them. They look cool, and they're fun. But I have games for one reason, to play them. Any game in my collection I'm keeping for collector's purposes won't last much longer. This was kind of unfocused. Let's continue on. Well, that's it. It's time to get cracking on some of these reviews. We got some interesting things coming up here. The Dice Tower Awards for the last year, for 2012. The nominations are going to be announced soon, so you can see what games we think were the best of 2012. And the Dice Tower Convention, you can find our news 3 times a week. Remy Gibson does a small audio podcast that's 5 to 10 minutes long. Keeps you updated. It comes out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So check that out. And for the rest of it, until next time, guys, I'll see you. I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.
Find all this and more at Dicetower.com. See you soon. Shut the door.